All right, peace, my brothers and sisters. We're live. ALTBAYS Show brought to you by ALTBAYS.nz. Exactly. We are a video productions company that provides a bunch of cool services. So if you're looking into increasing your online presence with high quality content, you get in touch with ALTBAYS and we'll make amazing videos for you. We also have a team dedicated to social media and digital marketing. ALTBAYS is expanding, man. It's so cool. Organic growth. It's so awesome. So get in touch. Our team is very professional. We can come up with a strategy and make your business or yourself thrive. That's what we're here for. We love community work, and this is showing very productive. We've been talking to a bunch of cool people, and the recognition in Whitianga, it's pretty cool because that's where I live. But we also get messages from people from all over New Zealand and around the world, which is pretty awesome. Messages from Germany. Shout out to Germany. So yeah, thanks for engaging. Thanks for talking to us. The best way to support this show is to go on YouTube. I'm not even trying to be funny yet. I'm getting there. The best way to support this show is to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. So hit the subscribe button and the like if you like the video. If you don't like the video, sorry. Not much that we can do about it. This show becomes available on all the podcast platforms tomorrow. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podcast Nation, all those main podcast platforms. You just type ALTBAYS and we'll be there. Just a couple of shout outs before we start. Taylor is not very well, so he's at home tonight. He's watching the show from home. And we have the pleasure to have Mr. Brett looking after the live stream, which is pretty cool. Hi, Brett.
Oops, hello.
You good?
Yeah, not going too bad at the moment.
Everything under control?
So far.
So far.
I forgot to push the record button though, but I've done it now. Taylor reminded me.
Thank you. Maybe he reminded you like 12 times, right? Yeah, and I forgot as well.
It was the most important thing apparently, you know. Yeah.
Yes, it is. But you made it at the beginning.
We're there now.
Thank you. And on Saturday, if you are in Whitianga or if you are around, the Monkey House Theater, it's bringing the band Spring Chicken to play some rock and roll. So if you are around, go and support Molly and Casper. Go have a drink. Great band. Good night for a boogie if you are around Whitianga. There was one more thing. Oh yeah, I think the MMA event is still happening tomorrow. So if you want to be part of that with Brad Quake, what's his last name? Do you remember? Brad Quake. Anyway. $50, great thing happening at the Evolution Fitness Gym. Check their social media and you will get some information there. Tonight, it's a very special night as well because on my left, I have the pleasure to have this amazing special co-host, great friend of mine. I would call her a sister.
Hi.
Chloe Potae.
Hello, everybody.
How's it going?
Very good, very good. I've had one beer and I'm about to open another, my favourite from...
Which beer?
It's actually the Sticky Palms, not sure what camera, but Sticky Palms from Blue Fridge. He was on just the other night, and Adam, this is my favourite beer.
Is that the mango one?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Fresh mango added at the end. It's a beautiful balance, and they're big cans, and it's local. So, cheers. I'm here to have a good time.
It was a good show, eh? Did you get to listen to that one or not?
Yeah, I watched.
You sent some questions.
Yeah, got a few answers as well. Just on a side note, I'm very happy to be here, ALTBAYS. I've been following you since you started, and it's great. It's nice to see. Nice that I'll be able to watch my own face on my computer and hear myself ramble, just like now. At home.
Thank you. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks.
It's pretty special.
Also, shout out to Cruise Dog on Instagram. He's a really cool dog.
There you go. Cruise Dog.
Follow.
Ow, ow.
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 Chloe, tonight we have a special guest here.
Yes.
I called her exceptional woman. And she was like, how do you know? And I was like, I know. TUIA MARAMA.
Kia ora.
Kia ora. How are you?
I'm a little bit anxious.
Oh my god! I can see you're holding on the seat,
I feel like I'm in a space shuttle, ready to take off on a rocket ship.
Yeah, a really weirdly spaced out roller coaster.
It's good to see you. It's good to have you here.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you like the space?
It's cool. It's funky.
Cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's a great description. Funky.
Yeah. It's really good. Very good.
Where were you this morning? You were on a mission. You were on a driving mission. Were you driving or you were?
No, my friend Nera Guri, she's been driving, and we've just driven from a Potae, and yeah, we were down there visiting my mum and my family. So yeah, it's been a big day of driving all the way back from a Potae. Yeah.
How's mom doing?
She's doing okay at the moment. Yeah, she's getting older.
Oh, bless.
And yeah, it was quite emotional. I felt quite emotional there, especially saying my sister came over from Rotorua, and we had a big family dinner, and I saw my brothers, my younger brothers that are twins. They were born in Thames, Daniel and Mark.
Oh, wow.
Daniel Mark Patchett. And yeah, I hadn't seen Mark since he got married, and it'd been quite a long time, quite a few years.
Oh, wow,
About
really?
6 years.
Wow.
I was like, wow, where does time go? Yeah. But yeah, my sister went home the night before, and just to say goodbye to her, I just felt really emotional
As you
around
would, yeah.
feeling like, my mum's getting on, and we don't know how much longer she'll be with us. So I was kind of, I felt quite emotional about that.
Important to put the family together, eh? So
That was
essential.
really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said that your brothers were born in Thames. Same for you. Are you also from the area?
No, I was born in Kawerau. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you moved to the Coromandel, is that right? When you
Yeah.
were, how old were you?
So when I was 10, my family moved to Ferry Landing, and we brought this shop at the top of the hill.
Oh, cool. The dark side
The
shop.
dark side.
The dark side shop.
And I went to Whenuakite Primary School until it was time to come over to Mercury Bay Area School and get turded in the third form.
Hey!
Yeah.
Country kids.
Yeah, that was a bit of a change. And yeah, so my family moved over to Whitianga. We sold the store and moved over to Whitianga. Yeah.
Right. How long did you live in the area for?
I left here when I was 24.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
That's a
Cool.
solid
Yeah.
youth and adulthood, start of adulthood.
Yeah, my young adult years. Crazy, wild.
Yeah. Wild Whitianga, eh?
It was. It really was in those days. Yeah.
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 So before we go to the wild of Whitianga, when you come back here, like how do you feel? Like remembering how it was and seeing how different it is now?
Well, I've been back a few times since I left, and the waterways were the first huge change, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. I was saying to
Chloe.
Chloe, that I used to know. I felt like I knew everybody here, but now I feel like I don't know a lot of people here.
Right.
But yeah, there's something that happens when I come to the North Island, whether it be here in Whitianga or even in a place right down the bottom of the North Island. I step onto the earth, and if I connect to the whenua, it just feels really emotional for me.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of energy, a lot of... so many people talk about that, of how strong the energy is at the place. There were even studies done about how strong and meaningful it is to be in this area. So I'm sure you're sensitive to it, especially because you spend so much time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love, I've spent so many hours walking the beaches, especially over Kuatunu, Matarangi. I used to walk the beaches every day. And yeah. So now when I go to the beach, after being away and living away, I go to the beach and I generally cry.
It's like a beautiful sort of weird way to be grounded, right? Like, because I hear that quite often, even in my own family. We always have somewhat grown up around the coast, and and me being somewhat on the beach, whatever. And then progressively, as I've gotten older and the further I've got in the world, every time I come home, it's just this. Like, I don't really have words for it. It's just emotional. It's just this massive sense of like lightness, we're equally grounding, and it's just a sense of like being home, which is great. It's a bit cliche, but it's very much like, oh my god, this is my ground, like in whatever reference, in majority of references, it's very much my home. So I can feel what you mean when you say that. It's it takes you back a bit, a bit breathtaking.
Yeah, it's like the Māori word is tūranga waiwai.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, literally, there you go.
Tūranga waiwai.
It's a
Oh my god, I'm a tūranga waiwai. I'm home. Yeah, it's definitely a feeling like being home. Yeah.
And like the beach is quite a great way, like as much as the beach will change, obviously, like it's a constantly moving thing. It's great that it's like to be so simple and poetic, but like, it's quite literally as you walk down, the waves wash up and away. It's like a great way to process a lot of, like, especially if you've come home and after experiencing whatever or going through whatever, when you come home, like, and the waves are washing it away, and it's like a real simple kind of, natural vibe to really process. It's perfect that if this is your home, the peninsula or the Coromandel, specifically Whitianga, you have access to that everywhere. It's like a cleanse. It's very cool.
Do you feel the same when you go back to Nelson, though? Do you feel like a connection with the place? Because how long have you been there for?
I've been in Nelson since I was... so I've lived in Nelson twice. My first stint, I lived there for like 11 years.
Yeah.
And then I went to Australia and I lived in Far North Queensland for 6 years. And then I went back. And...
Clearly no. God damn.
No,
I like Nelson, but
I was trying to do the math.
it's like the child that you kind of like it. I like little Nelson.
I'm trying to
Nelson
do
is
this
alright.
I was trying to do
I named it. I'm
Sorry,
joking.
I'm doing the maths. I'm like, how many years have I been in there in the second stint? And I now have a son who's nearly 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
So I've been there like 10 years. So yeah, a long time. But and it doesn't have the same feeling as when I step like onto the Whenua up here. It doesn't. No.
So TUIA, tell us a little bit first, like, what do you do, your thing, and then we're going to go through the details because we have so many cool things to talk about. But just for the people who are watching us, a lot of people are religiously watching ALTBAYS, which is pretty cool. So it can be like broad, just give us an idea of what you do and then we'll break that down.
Okay, so I currently am a massage practitioner, and I've been working with people's bodies for about 14 years, and so that's what I do.
Like live bodies, alive. I'm joking. Sorry, just breaking the ice.
Yeah, they're still alive when they leave the studio.
Okay,
yeah?
cool.
I've always thought, massage people and elderly people to help them transition into the next phase of their...
Beautiful.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I work with live people.
Nice.
And so I do that, and a mum, and I also am in a singing group called Te Manaha, and we sing Waiata Māori, and we're kind of a community group tautoko events, and
Awesome.
yeah, it's really fun.
Is that a waiata here coming up at the end?
Whoops, put me
Yeah,
on
not to
spot,
put anyone on the spot. Yeah, absolutely prepared.
Artists are always ready, man. Always ready.
What else do I do? I'm a creative person. I've been a creative person for a long time. Like I love creativity.
And you studied fashion, is that right? Which is textile, and is that correct?
Yeah, I did a
That's cool.
diploma in fashion and textiles down in Nelson at the NMIT there. Yeah.
That's cool. And the reason why you actually coming around, which is cool, which is the workshops and the things that you're tapping into, that I found very interesting.
The the consent workshop is a passion that's kind of come from my life experience, and yeah, so I could visit some of that. So from my childhood, there was sexual abuse, and that kind of really has challenged me in my relationships in my life with boundaries. And so I just started doing my own personal work, and yeah, so that's how it's all come about, is to stop. And having my son, I wanted to stop cycles of abuse.
Yeah.
Because
it's so important. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Because I had some of my own behaviours that I felt challenged with, and I really wanted to heal myself so I could be a good mama for him, so that he can have a good life and grow up to be a healthy individual. Fingers crossed.
I'm sure he'll be.
I love you, Lige, if you're
man.
watching this. Apparently, Habanera watching this now. I love you, darling. Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
I guess because now consent is a word that it's out there, which is so important. It's so relevant that we're bringing more attention to the words and paying more attention to relationships and how we navigate this thing of finding people and spending time with them, and maybe deciding to spend the rest of our lives with them, and sometimes putting up with things that we think are fine, maybe they're not. So my question, what I'm curious is, like, when did you actually realize that you suffered abuse? Because, like, I don't know how hard that was. It's something that you can share or not, obviously. But, like, I guess a lot of people just go through their lives without even realizing that they suffered, and they carry the trauma that they don't even know where it comes from. So when did you tap into it? When you were kind of like, I think something.
It's a pretty big question. It's a pretty big question.
We're going deep. We're going deep early.
Yeah, what's coming to mind is that so the abuse was with a stepfather of mine, not my mum's current husband. He's a wonderful man. But yeah, this is a little bit challenging to talk about. So we actually took him to court.
Okay.
And from that, I had to go through counselling. And in my first relationship I was in for 7 years, there was a lot of anger and a lot of addictions, and part of the counsel, one day in one of the sessions, my counsellor said to me, this anger that you have it's actually towards your stepdad, but you're taking it out on your partner. And so that was the kind of first kind of clicky moment. Was
Did
like,
you challenge that first? Did you believe that? Or you were kind of like a bit skeptical about that?
Nah, totally made sense.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure that I assume you're somewhat young when you're going through counselling, and there'll be something sort of said and sort of things validated for you. And I'm sure that example there, you're a bit like, because obviously you'd probably be questioning yourself when someone's saying, oh, you're so angry. Where's all this anger coming from? And you're like, oh, I'm not specifically angry. I'm not the angriest person. And then when you realise, it is a real anger and a deep anger, and it's somewhat, the validation, right? I'm sure that was pretty comforting.
Yeah, it was, it just started to make me see things from a different perspective, I guess. And for me at the time, I was fully in my own addictions and was just in the behaviour. So I wasn't analytical. Since then, I've gotten a lot more analytical. Sometimes can be really hard. And that's another journey. That's another whole story to talk about, is being analysing yourself and being critical of yourself.
Healthily.
I guess so many people who are watching this are like, oh, fuck yeah, I do that. I judge myself. So, now I'm on the journey towards self-acceptance and self-love and, being aware of how what's going on within me and loving on that, even though it is challenging to be in that space sometimes, just giving myself some self-love, love on that. Just going to love myself through that and be with that. Yeah, as much as I can. Yeah.
Do you... Wow, that's beautiful. That's
It
deep.
is.
Were you attracting people with a specific behavior?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you were probably not aware of it, right? It took a little bit of time to realize that there was a thing.
Well, I kept attracting partners who had addictions, and that was because I had my own addictions. But there was something in me that was like, oh, I know there's a better life for me. And so I felt kind of pulled, or like something was guiding me towards a better life, a better way of being. And but I was still struggling with those addictions, and it took me a long time. I'm just trying to think to fully kind of let go of that need to numb out, because I couldn't be with that pain, and so my capacity to be with myself has grown more and more over the years, and so I don't need the addiction so much, because I can be with myself. And I tell you what, it's actually quite delicious.
Oh, that's a good word for it. That's a great word for it.
To actually be and experience life with clarity and with the naturalness of life is actually really nice. Like, there's so much beauty out there I had this stunning experience with energy coming into me, all around me, and feeling completely orgasmic.
Yeah.
And
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh yeah. Midnight show.
Without is this an R18 show?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So without without anybody else actually activating that. It was something that was naturally available for me because I was present. And what a stunning experience.
I think it was Beyonce or maybe Nicki Minaj. Feeling myself. I'm feeling myself.
Because there's this thing with like we're all social beings, obviously, but there's this beauty in solitude. Like you got to master, well, not master because it's an everyday process in learning, but being comfortable with yourself really sets the foundation to be a good person, a social person, right? So what you're talking about, feeling and empowering yourself, really makes better ground for relationships and everything. I wonder about empathy though, because you don't hear much people talking about, like, usually you mention what happened in the abusive relationship, but like now that you are studying a little bit more, coming more in touch with yourself and understanding what was happening, is it easier to develop empathy for those people who were abusing you at the time, or there's still a little bit of it's a tricky one, eh?
Yeah, not to put words in anyone's mouth, but also like the word just like abuse, I'm sure considering like after the specific situation, obviously the word abuse, once you've been traumatized, is something that isn't so black and white, I've found, or have assume and see, really. Like, it's often like going back to what we first talked about like, when did you become aware of the situation and your behaviour and where it's come from and why you do that? A lot of the time you tend to be the carrier of the abuse, in terms of you hold your weight for what's happened to you, and you can be unconsciously moving in the world in relationships being an abuser, or as lots of it's common language these days to be called toxic. You become a toxic person, and most of the time, you know, you're a bit unaware of that, and kind of lost where I was going with that, but just sorry, but you know, and just pointing out the word with abuse, like in a two-way relationship, it's not always like one person has to be the evil person.
And definitely not trying to justify that, but just saying like probably the abuser also comes from a place of trauma. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. You know, when we actually took my stepdad to court, I felt compassion for him because, you know, we were all born innocent babies. We weren't born as abusers, and somewhere along the way we get fucked up. Sorry about the swimming.
Great,
that's absolutely fine.
Good
and
friends.
Yeah.
We get messed with, and things our behaviours start to become unhealthy, and if we aren't willing to do our own work, I feel, then, you know, then we end up being a perpetrator, an abuser, and that's why consent is so important. Like, shit,
perfect.
I'm my boy, Elijah. I've played this little consent game with him, and in teaching him how to say no, how to say stop, and when someone says no, thank you for taking care of yourself, and because that helps you with like receiving a no. When someone's saying no to me, they're not rejecting me, they're actually taking care of themselves. So that's something that I taught him as what I've been taught. And the other part is being able to say yes. So the thing with consent, it helps develop a safety within you, and it makes you safe for others as well. Yep. Which is, that's where we want to be. We want to be safe within ourselves, and we want to be safe for other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just on the wee game you were talking about, it's actually a bit more in detail something I do with my nieces and nephews. It's somewhat on the same realm of consent, but just certain things going into the sort of the sexual sort of side, is teaching them, rather giving some silly la-la names about their bits, you know, teaching them, because it's the words vagina and penis are not vulgar, they're just their names, and teaching them that so they know, and they're aware of that. So it's not someone touched my private parts, or ba or my flower, or my la-la-la, so they can communicate correctly. It's like, someone punched my arm. Leo will say, someone punched my arm, rather than whatever else. There's no, someone tickled my la flower, whatever, you know, and then that can be very played off and not understood, and the blanket and sweeping of an acknowledgement when it comes to consent is something that should start at home and with children, and it doesn't have to be a big bad scary wolf thing. It's something as simple as teaching yeses and nos and the right language, I think. So your cool little game's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
And then, and like, you know, if teenagers were taught this kind of stuff, you know, how awkward was it in my years, and probably his as well. Did you
get that, Leo? She called you young.
Can't see the back of my head.
Sex education and talking about, like, there was nothing kind of really spoken. It was embarrassing.
Ridiculously.
It was shameful. And, you know, it's like being in consent, being like embracing our bodies for the naturalness of them is so important.
Because it feels like it's easy to always put on education. Oh, we need better education. But actually, some things have to come from home. But if the people at home are not prepared, it's not gonna happen, right? It's hard to get it right. So now that you're doing your part, you're doing your research, you're feeling it's like, do you see easier or a way that it would be more appropriate for families, for society, for community, because we talk so much about community, to start to embrace the subjects and put it on the spotlight, you know, because now body, sex and everything, like, it's so on your face, but it feels like that is very superfluous. Is that the word? Like, it's a bit like
superficial.
Superficial, thank you. It's very like, you know, like it feels like acting all the time, and to go a little bit deeper, it needs more attention and more heart, and it feels hard. Hard. I don't know why.
What feels hard?
I'm not even talking about myself, because I don't have problems. No, it feels like it's hard for a family, for example, to come to their children and talk about these things. Maybe not for you, but it feels like that the everyday family, you know, it's very hard for them. Like, let's sit and talk about, you know, like that. So why is that? Why is that? Like,
why is that? It's because they weren't educated themselves.
Absolutely, it's a generational thing. Like, and you got to be the one that makes a difference, in the sense that, you know, break the cycle. You know, start with your own children. You know, and from what you know, you spread information in a positive and, you know, correct way.
How are you feeling about navigating that with your son?
I've got some fantastic books to share with him that are I'm waiting for him to, you know, get a little bit older so he can kind of read them, for starters. But yeah, when I feel the time is right, I would love to introduce these books to him that teach him about the sacredness of his sexuality and of women's sexuality. I've got a sacred sexuality book on men and women. I've got lots of books.
Are they picture books by chance?
There are pictures.
Just for anyone out there, just interested.
Yeah, he's actually seen these books already, and yeah, kind of made a comment. I can't remember what it was, and actually, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. No, right? I don't need to go there. Yeah. But so yeah, I think just having more awareness myself and knowing how embarrassing it was when I was young, and not shaming him for being natural as well is another thing that that men tend to. Men get a lot of shaming, and it's really challenging for men and their sexuality. Women are quick to judge them. Okay. That's a real. I'm going to take back.
That's great.
I'm taking that back because that's a real generalization.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to delete that and say that some women, see,
Well,
shame men, and men
Right.
are the enemy, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But men are just as sacred as women, and
Just as gentle. Yeah. Absolutely.
My heart goes out to the men. Yeah.
Right. Because there's a thing that it's sold to us as society, right? Especially for like to keep a lot of industries alive, of being macho, of not crying, of being strong, of being always out there, like for whatever happens, and it feels like you can never be weak and vulnerable and feel those feelings.
Yeah.
So I connect with what you're saying, and I feel like the best we can do is just actually get in touch with ourselves, and I try to tap into that. Like, it's very hard for me to cry, for example, and I wonder why. Like, sometimes I ask myself, I'm like, why? Like, why? When I'm just about to, I'm feeling like this thing comes of, maybe just a thing of listening to it so much from a very early age, man, don't cry. And I'm like, but I'm okay. Like, I'm all good with myself, with my sexuality. Like, why can't I just cry? But it feels like it just sits there, and it needs a lot of unwinding, like a lot of work. But it also feels like doing those works take a lot of energy and time, and we're so busy. There's so much to do, right? Like, you gotta do stuff. So even to heal, it feels like it's a battle sometimes, because people don't want to show that they are in a moment that they need to be quiet and heal and stop. Do you have techniques, or you have ways to communicate with people who are going through those things of like, it's even hard to be myself and feel weak right now?
Slowing down.
Breathing.
Slowing down, and just with a client recently who felt exactly the same way, felt like he couldn't cry. And been years since he'd cried. And even just having having emotions. And so the work that I did with him, I invited him to become aware of what he actually does feel. Feeling the cloth on his skin, feeling the air going through his nostrils, feeling or hearing the sounds in the room, and just becoming aware of all the things that he does feel and does hear, and activating the senses, and then starting to go deeper from there and go internally. What do you feel inside of your body? and it was absolutely beautiful. I shared with him something that really struck a chord for him, and it was because there was a deep sense of not having, not mattering, and not mattering. Far out, I've been there. And I shared with him something that I heard one time, is that, you know, he matters so much that it's like if he wasn't here, if he wasn't existing, then the whole of creation wouldn't be whole. Like, it's like having a piece of the jigsaw missing. And that's how important you are. Like, a jigsaw isn't whole without all of its pieces.
Oh, beautiful.
And that just went boom. Because when I came across that, it went boom in my heart, and it really landed. I was like,
That's massive.
oh my God, because I used to feel like I didn't matter. You know, if I died, no one would, you know, no one would miss me. But I matter. We all matter. And without us, creation wouldn't be whole. We would be a missing piece in creation. And whew, if we all kind of got that, how beautiful that would be. Yeah.
I think that's one of the tricky things, though. Like, even with, you know, like social media is sort of put at you in terms of like a connective way to be connected to everything, information, people, friends, the world, etc. And it's not so crazy anymore. It's just kind of a fact of how singular and isolated people become because of these tools. And I think that general sense of maybe not mattering and feeling not enough is somewhat natural, just because of like the physical society we live in. And then we have this new wave of stuff, and it's completely insane how quickly someone can be bullied into a corner online, if not even offline, and just because of these tools that are meant to be helpful and connective, and dealing with a problem that's I don't want to call it natural, but I can assume it only becomes natural when you're not in a realm of people that are so open and loving and giving, which I think a lot of our physical sort of plane is. You know, when you really think about, you know, if what kind of puzzle piece you are and what puzzle you fit into, you know, whether it's in a personal relationship with your partner, you know, people use that example all the time, like puzzle piece you're meant to fit. But on like a global, just energy level, that you literally are the last piece of everything, it's incredible, I think. And it's tricky to think that people wouldn't understand that idea because of just the social media world that we're in. You're connected into something, literally something, but I mean, it also means you're super involved. Your neighbour isn't just here next to you, they might be on the other side of the world on the computer, but you are somewhat together. And like, if you can grasp that, I think the idea of being the puzzle piece just seems so easy, but I can imagine it's very hard for lots of people to understand, which is tricky. It's just a bit of a paradox, I think.
Did you feel like that? Like, of understanding, that you were understanding concepts, like things started to make sense, but it's still
Tricky.
It took time to really make it meaningful to yourself? Because I feel like that sometimes, like things make sense. I'm like, oh yeah, this makes sense. But turning into a reality for me, you know, living that, it feels like it's a different mission. It's like a practice, something like that you got to do.
Yeah.
Is it common? Is it a thing?
I'm not too sure if I'm fully on the same wavelength, but
Okay.
give me my response to your
Yes.
question is that, you know, if I get triggered by a trauma, it's like a trauma response from upbringing, then, you know, I will forget that I'm a jigsaw piece. I'm part of the whole, and I
Very
get,
easy to.
you know, I totally sometimes can lose that connection. But it's, when they say it's not about what happens to you, it's how you respond to what happens to you.
Great.
So it's like,
Yes.
you know, life happens, challenges happen, and it's not about, it's about how quickly you can get back up, how quickly I can get back to a space of, I'm okay. 'Cause, there are definitely times when I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't feel that, but yeah, it's good to know. It's good to have these awarenesses like, oh yeah, I can open back into that space of feeling like, actually I matter. I belong here. Yeah.
When you have, because I guess people come to you, what is more common? Like, do you have more men, more women, couples? It's a mix, younger people. Does it follow like a pattern, or all sorts of people with different stories? And
I feel like it's kind of, I would say the balance is towards more men,
Okay.
but it's a lot. Women come and see me as well, but yeah, I'd say more men come and see me.
what about couples?
I
Feels
don't
like it's a
have
right.
couples. No.
But the work that you, like the things that you read about, the when I was doing my best to make sense of the wheel of consent. Of course, you can apply to any relationship, like you were talking, like, you know, father and son or whatever, friends. But like it feels like it's quite couple related, someone that you're having more interaction. And did you practice that? Was it a thing that was happening and you were on a relationship and you could practice that? You were trying to make sense when you were with someone and you could actually do those exercises? And
You don't have to be in a relationship to be practicing consent.
Yeah.
It can be, so the wheel of consent has 4 quadrants, and there's one called serve, and there's accept on the other side. So serve is when you say, when someone asks, will you do something for me? And the other person thinks about what
they can do.
what they've asked of them, and they will say, yes, I will. And so it could be, will you vacuum my house? And the other person will say, yes, I will vacuum your house. So it can be, it doesn't have to be about love relationships.
right.
It can be about general stuff. Yeah. And so, and then in the other quadrant is take and then allow. And take is, it kind of has a kind of funky kind of resonance to it, but it's when you ask someone, may I pick pears from your tree? And the other person says, yes, you may, if they felt to allow you to pick pears from their tree. Or it may be, may I feel your arm? And the other person thinks about it and says either yes or no, or yes but only for a short amount of time, or yes up, only on my hand, or whatever. So yeah, you don't have to be in relationship to be practicing consent. it affects all areas of your life. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess it's a great exercise for couples, right? I think it's an important thing because sometimes you're doing that for so many years and you think that that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then you realize that, oops, actually it's not in balance. This is not right. So that's what I was enjoying reading it. I was like, wow, this must be like an eye opener for a lot of people. They must like realize that they were not in a great relationship for years, but they were just used to that. And sometimes the fear of leaving a situation, it's bigger than actually having the guts to say this is not right. And then you start to realize or even make sense that it was not good for you. So that's why for me it was so like, wow, this is a powerful thing. Yeah.
Yeah. With the allowing, there is with all the quadrants, there's a shadow side to it, and that's when you're not within the circle of consent. And the circle of consent is an agreement that you've made with the person that you're interacting with. And
even unconsciously?
Well, this is actually a spoken agreement.
Right.
So it's like who's going to be doing what, and who's receiving. So
Not guessing.
Not guessing.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, she's fine.
Yeah.
She'll do it.
She wouldn't mind.
Right.
So Betty talks about like the muddy area, and the muddy area is when you're doing the guessing because you actually haven't got clear around who this is for, who the gift is for, like who is going to be receiving what she describes as the gift. So in the taking quadrant, it's like, may I feel your arm. So the gift is going towards the person who is doing to the other person, to the allower. So the gift is access to the other person. And there's so much to it. There's so much to it. So she talks about a directional flow. And so one of the first exercises that she speaks about is activating the sensations in your hand. So there's an object that you touch, say this mushroom here, and you feel the mushroom and you just feel all the sensations that you feel with this amazing wobbly mushroom in the middle of the table. I didn't expect it to wobble. And so you activate the senses in your hands, and the gift. So the gift is going to the taker, who's asking, may I have access to you? And the information comes up through the hands and into their being. And so they are receiving the gift. Right. They're receiving the gift of access to another person. Or the pears that are off the pear tree or whatever it is.
Fascinating. Yeah. It can go so far. Yeah.
Yeah, but that muddy area is around the guessing. You know, feeling like the shadow side of the allowing is tolerating and enduring, being passive.
Right.
And so, you know, there can be a misunderstanding that the person who is doing something to you, they think that they have consent and that you are enjoying what you're receiving. But if you're not within the consent part, if you haven't got the consent sorted, they could be just enduring and tolerating, but not really actually enjoying what they're receiving. Right. So how much better would life be if we are enjoying what we are receiving? Of course. And and like you say, people can spend years actually not actually communicating that they aren't enjoying what they're receiving, that they are just enduring.
Yeah. What I think is quite common. Consent itself is quite prominent now. Consider it trendy. It's just something very talked about. When I don't believe it being when I was younger, it would have been probably a bit helpful. And just like and what sort of situations consent is. It doesn't have to be all sex related. In a work situation between friends, and it's just a matter of knowing when that one quite literally spoken word, yes, I agree to this, is consent. But it's actually just not that common. Like, it's crazy that it's I think it's crazy that it's just not so commonly known, or people are aware of the difference between enduring and consent, to what it means to ask something of someone, or and what their response would be. The simple, they wouldn't mind, they've never said anything. Like, in what world does that actually make any sense? Like, it's like if I'm stealing something from a shop, well, they didn't catch me, so it's not stealing. No, you're still stealing, whether you got caught or not. Like, it seems, I mean, personally, the circle of consent is a little tricky. Do search it up, do find it, do have a look.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's the cool thing about the workshop you're doing tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
In Koatuno. It's much more hands-on, right? Like, well, there's
hands-on.
a little pun there.
Absolutely. It is hands-on. Yeah. It's it to me, it makes more sense when you have an embodied experience of it, because to intellectually try and understand it, it's confusing. So tomorrow in the workshop, I want to give people an embodied experience, so they can actually feel what it feels like within them, and to have consent, to ask the questions, may I, and to respond, to actually slow down. And this is a huge thing, is to actually pause and say, actually, am I okay with this? Am I okay with giving access to my body? Tomorrow in the workshop, I will just share that we're just working with, to begin with, the hands and maybe up to the forearms. So we're not deliciously caressing whole bodies. It may be feet, so it's not too overly challenging. It's fully clothed, and the idea is just to introduce people to the actual wheel of consent, and so they can get a little bit of an understanding around being in service and being accepting, asking the questions, may I, and yes you may, and talking about the shadow aspects of each quadrant, because that's the scary part. If we're not actually in the wheel of consent, then there's a whole lot of shit going down that we don't really want to be living, and that creates a lot of suffering in our life. So back to being a safe person to be around, and to building safety within ourselves. One of this spiritual gifts with this wheel of consent as well, and one of them is being trustworthy and having integrity, trusting in yourself to speak up for yourself, to set your limits. And to one of the things that I really love about it is she speaks about being a guardian of the agreement. So you make an agreement, and that creates the circle of consent. And then you become, like if you are in the taking quadrant, you become the guardian of the limits that the person has said. Oh, okay, yeah. Can you just do it like softly? Don't pull on my fingers because I've got a sore thumb or whatever. And so you become a guardian and check in with them. Say, oh yeah, and you develop a sensitivity of kind of reading their body language.
Right.
Are they tensing? Are they relaxed? And there's just so much to it around, you know, the way you position yourself, so you're neutral, so you're actually open to receiving.
Yeah, that's where I was trying to, like, that's where my mind was going. Like, it feels like the more you understand it and you normalize it, you get much more out of, for example, seduction and knowing that you can actually relax in some situations and really let the person guide, because you know, like, that you're so in touch with yourself that you're like, oh yeah, I can allow myself to experiment something. And I think that that's the beauty, you know, like, because I was listening and I was getting the concept and the concept, and I was like, cool, but like, it feels like once you pass that first thing of like being a bit more comfortable, you open up for a world of possibilities, right? And that's the beauty of it. Is that correct? Am I going right? Yes,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
because that's where the fun lies, right?
Yeah.
That's how when I go back to, because I'm all, as most people, like, I think you go through phases in life, you know, like, and we hope that most people will mature and look back and understand. And I always had a style of kind of like leading the thing and doing things, you know, like, but always caring as well, you know, like being really attentive, like paying attention, that I was hoping that the person was enjoying, you know, like, and then I realized, it will make my life easier if I communicate better, because then I establish that trust first, and then all the play comes, right?
Yeah.
So it feels like it's something that we should actually be studying a little bit, right? Because it brings much lightness, I would say. Like, you feel lighter and you trust your body more. Am I going right with this, or?
I'm feeling like, you know, there's a tendency to take responsibility. Like, you can't relax into it if you're taking responsibility for the other person's feelings, if you know what I mean. It comes back to that kind of guessing. So by getting clear on who is this gift for. So, like, I'm going to give you the gift of having access to me, and my role in that, within my boundaries, is to surrender.
That's a big word.
Surrender.
It's a big word.
I'm going to surrender to what I've agreed on, and, you know, the safety. If you have that integrity and only do what I've agreed for you to do, then that allows me to relax and surrender, because I can trust that you are only going to do what we've agreed to do. And so the where it gets tricky is that we have a tendency to step back into giving. Like, a lot of people, we give, and we think, and giving makes us feel good. We're making somebody else feel good, so that, you know, we give to someone else so that we feel good. But in this beautiful take and allow, which is where the yumminess is where you know, one person is surrendering and the other person is exploring and playing and being spontaneous and being creative within the boundaries. And because you've got the boundaries, you know where you're at, you know your limits, so you can just explore within those limits. And there's a freedom and an opening, I think, within that space too, because you've got that
Yeah.
You've got your agreements. Yeah.
As an artist, as someone who expresses yourself as an artist, do you feel like it helps to be more like yourself? Because it's such a space where, like, I was talking to a friend last night about, she says she writes a lot. She loves writing. And someone from her family or a friend gets her writing, turns into music. And it's one of the only ways that she feels comfortable to actually show that to people. Like, she wouldn't be able to share that. So personal, you know, so much heart there. But if someone plays with it, you know, like, it's fine. And art has this thing with being so precious, but then you pass that and you want to show it to everybody. Like,
But you get a bit of validation.
yeah, you're like, you kind of like, yeah, you know, like it happens to her. Like, she gets to that point of trusting. It's still her stuff. It's still her. But like, yeah, cool, this is fine. You know, now I want to show. Now I want to be like. Do you feel like it's all kind of like connected there? Like, having that thing with being an artist and putting yourself out there will help also with your own acceptance and the way that you're relating to people. Should we all be doing something, you know, like a little bit of coloring, whatever, playing, singing, moving?
Some like homework to practice consent, do you mean?
I don't know. Yeah, like kind of, or more like even to tap more within yourself. You know, like, that's how I feel. Like, when I'm in the zone doing my thing, I'm with myself more. I'm not out there. I don't think too much about all the other shit that is happening. Like, I'm kind of more like in tune to myself. And then when an intimacy moment comes or something comes, like, I feel like, oh yeah, there's that safe place. There's that cool place where my mind goes. You know, like, I kind of like know a path that it helps. I don't know. I think like the arts, it's such a healing thing for me. And I try to apply that mindset sometimes to all the things that I do to see if it fits. Sometimes it fits, sometimes it doesn't. But I don't know. I just feel like the artistic expression helps a lot to the way that I relate to other people. You know, like, it kind of empowers me. So I was just wondering, it's more like a personal thing, you know, because you were talking about the singing and all those things, like taking pictures and playing with textiles and things. Like, do you feel all those things help, they support, or they are completely different?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Good.
I'm not sure. It's funny because creativity feels like a natural expression. Now I'm tapping into something here. A natural expression. And I guess consent with myself to actually put my creativity out into the world is, I think the safety is probably part of it, is to feel safe within myself, to actually be vulnerable, to put my stuff out into the world. Like my writing, I've just recently done a 21-day writing challenge, and
how was it? What is it about? What's involved?
It's juicy. So the writing challenge was the theme was 21 days to find my lover. Yeah, 21 days. And so I was quite cool because I was like, people will be thinking, how's she going to find a lover in 21 days?
Right, sign me up.
Sign me up. Put Tinder to the side. Let's just go with it.
Next question, eh? Remember that one.
It's like the introverted version of Married at First Sight. Just like writing later.
So there was a prompt every day that I received, and it was all around letters. And so it was my interpretation around the prompt related to my theme. And so what it actually was drawing out of my own personal story. And how I relate to the world and to myself and relationships and my creativity and the challenge was to actually publish it. And that was pretty
Did
scary.
you know from the beginning?
Yeah.
Did you know from the beginning that you would have to publish it, or it came as one of the parts of the process? You were like, now you have to publish
I've done the challenge in the past, but I didn't publish it.
Right.
I just shared it with a friend, but this time round, I was like, okay, I'm going to be publishing this. And at first, it was really quite vulnerable and scary.
it. Mm-hmm.
And then I actually started to feel into the gift that my writing was like there was a response and people, like I had one person say, you know, I'm inspired by what you've written, and I've actually drummed up enough courage to have a very deep and challenging conversation with somebody.
Wow. Wow.
Beautiful, eh?
How's that?
That's so cool. Wow. That's rewarding. Wow.
Yeah.
Shit.
Can
Yeah.
I ask, are you able to give any examples of any of the prompts you were given?
Oh,
Could you give a bit of context to how deep and
okay.
maybe soft it goes?
Because
yeah,
I guess
like,
it's open, right? Like we could go and read if you
yeah,
published.
yeah. If you
Right,
want
so
to have a look at my
cool.
stories,
Because you published,
you can
cool.
go on my
Cool.
Facebook page, TUIA MARAMA.
Say it again.
TUIA MARAMA.
Thank you.
You can
Yeah.
also sing it if you want. You know, just,
TUIA MARAMA. Yeah, so well, the prompts were just really simple, like
what
a
do you
sales
say
receipt
to,
or a letter.
cool.
Like it could be an email, it could have been an invitation. Invitation was one of the prompts.
Pretty cool prompts.
And an offering, or so there were just like these random.
Did you get stuck in any of them? The hardest one? They were like, oh, what?
Like, what would you do if you found a naked Leo in your shower? Just checking if you're still here, mate.
Are you listening, Brett? Yes. Yes.
I'm stumped. I've lost my train of thought now.
Me too.
The
Me
visuals,
too.
the visuals.
Sorry
Thanks,
about that,
Chloe.
Jane. Yep. You're welcome.
Great debut.
Sorry, Jane.
So yeah, kind of random prompts, and your mind goes into, oh, what can I do? And you kind of like in the shower,
the
not with Leo, but in the shower, and like,
Yeah.
and then an idea comes to mind, and then you start writing. And did I get stuck? Yes, I have. I kind of did get stuck, but yeah, then I'd go and have a shower.
Boom. Done.
Boom, sorted.
Came back inspired.
Singing it in the shower.
It helps
Awesome,
so
awesome.
much.
Yeah.
Go. Right. So that was the challenge. How did you feel after when you finished and then you got that letter, and then like do you think like it will open new possibilities for what you already do with your artwork? And
I want to become a writer.
fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah, I love writing and I love sharing. So my stories, 21 Days to Find My Lover, I would love to turn it into a book and have it as a book.
How did it feel, or was there a difference? And like you've said, you've done it before, like a 21 challenge. But you said that beforehand you hadn't published it before.
Yeah.
So was that by choice, or was it just a part of the program, the last one?
It was an invitation to publish.
Yeah. And was there any reason why you didn't at the time?
Uh,
Compared to like now
last
that you
time.
have?
Last time. I guess I just shared it with a friend, and so I wasn't brave enough at that time, courageous enough to do it online on Facebook, and this time I was. And I guess, sometimes I'm like, oh, wow, did I just post about that?
Wow, that's awesome.
And I was like, yes, I did. And this is me. And I am being seen.
It's beautiful.
And here I am on ALTBAYS being seen.
Oh yeah. So you joked about Tinder.
Yeah.
Are you on Tinder?
No, I'm not on Tinder.
Are you, Chloe?
Maybe.
Brett? Nah, Brett's not.
Yeah.
Ange, it was just a joke, Ange. Come on.
Whoops.
So
What about Hinge?
well, you're not there, but it is certainly like shifting, right? The way that we connect, the way that we get to meet people, the way that we interact. Can you give your perspective on this change?
that?
Yeah.
Watch out.
Watch out!
Watch
That's a
out.
great
No,
one.
I've heard some stories that are not within the wheel of consent, I can tell you.
Tinder Swindler.
Tinder swindlers.
It's a Netflix series, Tinder Swindler. Tinder
I haven't
Swindler.
actually watched that yet, but
Watch them.
yeah,
Scary.
yeah, it is scary. You know, people putting up false profiles and things like that.
And in terms of in terms of consent as well, like pushing boundaries, knowing someone doesn't completely understand, for example, the circle of consent or what it means to consent. They're just constantly enduring, and there are people out there that really push that and take advantage of that idea. You know, it's a sense of control.
However, I guess you could say that the other way also works, because for a lot of people it's very hard to go out and being harassed or abused, or like someone pulls your hair or someone touches your arm or so that
sexually harassed.
for some people might be worse to go through those experiences than actually having a look on your phone and thinking, oh yeah, I can put up with this or not with that. So that's why I asked your take on it, because I believe it is a thing about the way you look at it, right? It might work for some people, for some others not, but it's certainly changing the way that we relate to each other. Is it?
Well, I'm going to be honest and say, because I've
please.
never been on Tinder, I don't actually have my own personal experience of it, because I have a tendency to, I meet people.
Come on, grab your phone.
Yeah, set it up, babe.
I meet people in person, and that's how I meet my people, is through people, and not online. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, Chloe. Yes, please.
Oh, in saying that, obviously you're on Facebook. You mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
How was it with? How do you feel about just that? It's kind of second nature these days. It may not be, just by how much people consume social media. When you see people post certain, they're called thirst traps. So like photos intentionally trying to look sexy or hot and show my muscles. I don't even know what that one's called, but like very, very. Have you come across any on your Facebook, perhaps? Have you come across? Sorry, pardon me. Have you come across any sort of media like that that's made you feel a bit? Oh, that's great.
Like
something to
spiritual
consume.
singles.
Or even ChristianSingles.com.
I have definitely come across those on my page.
Right.
And
are you a double click or are you like a whoa scroll?
no, I haven't. I've like looked and gone, oh yeah, move on kind of thing.
Okay.
I haven't actually gone onto a dating site and swiped through and scrolled through.
Okay.
That might be an experience, but yeah.
Not your niche. That's cool.
It's not my niche.
You're beautiful enough anyway. I'm sure people flock to you. Yeah. You're beautiful.
You too.
Yeah.
You too.
Thanks.
What a night, friends.
Yeah. Oh, and Leo. Yeah. Oh, Leo.
Oh,
No,
thank
yeah.
you, Chloe. Nice. That's why you're here in the show, because of your kind words. I wonder though, because we're all very aware that nowadays it's very easy to put yourself out there, you know, like on your bikini, on your shorts, and then a lot of you can find both sides of the equation. Like there's a lot of people saying, "Great, empowerment, be yourself, you know, put yourself up there, show your body, whatever," and then on the other side, you say, "Oh, wow, this is really damaging the people who don't have a body that is like what the magazine tells you that you should be," you know. So yeah, is that a thing that is a trauma thing there, that it could be playing on one side more than the other? Do you feel like for some people it's actually great, you know, like that they feel good and they can show themselves there, but for some others it's more like a escape? Yeah.
I was thinking about this earlier when you mentioned we were talking about something else, and it was about. Oh, I know. It was when you were talking about, not being able to cry and feeling like you had to be macho. Not you being macho, but you know, that kind of thing. And I was thinking about how on social media that there is a lot of positive posts that really
Toxic positivity.
depict a life of someone, people like they've got their shit together and life is sweet and they're amazing and powerful and all that and beautiful, but that's not reality, because there is the other side. And I think that would it would kind of affect people thinking, my life isn't like that. So there is a bit of a comparison thing, and comparison is a killer. But it's you see that, and you think, oh, you know, my life's not like that. I'm not like that, so I'm lesser. You know, a trap.
Toxic positivity. It's actually, which is quite a common term at the moment online. Body positivity was like a massive thing. Obviously, girls embracing their bodies, no matter what size and what they look like. Simple things like showing off your non-airbrushed skin. So showing your birthmarks, your stretch marks, etc., etc. And in terms of sizing, it became a massive thing. It still is somewhat now. Like, it's very consumed media, you know, bigger women in catalogues in Kmart showing off clothes, which is perfect and great, super normal. But then it becomes toxic positivity, where people are going, well, I'm big. For one example, well, I'm big and I'm happy, so that's okay. But are you? And then it's positivity fighting that. Yeah, but we just want you to be healthy. Yeah, but then healthy doesn't have to mean skinny. Like, it's this weird. There will always be a back and forth and a comparison, and it's so easy how quickly it flips, and it and it's on all scales. I've seen it with my family members when they were young mothers, when they were kids. They had kids, and they're on social media, and they see these mothers posting about all these things like, I've got 3 kids and I've just started this new business and I did my fitness workout and whatever. And then I have a family member, they're like wanting to pull her hair out because one kid's over there, one kid's on a wall, and then there's all of a sudden sand in the house, and there's no sand for like 6 k's in this whole area. Where's the sand come from? Why is that one climbing the fence? And who's that? And I'm sitting there, and she's like, I'm not a good mum. Why can't she do this? And then she'd sit there and ground herself and be like, but my mum got through. My mum did all of this without all of this. And then all of a sudden she's neither this and neither that. And it's well, what do I do? And I watched her, though, turn that into a positive thing, which I don't think actually happens that commonly anymore, but it's a tricky sense. It's neither here nor there, and it's 1 out of 1,000. Just the comparing, it happens with everything. Like it's so sad, and it's this weird in between that I think is becoming more and more rare. That sucks, and it causes a lot of trauma. Because what if you are say, for example, bigger person that's very proud of their body and you feel great and you're somewhat healthy? What it could be for whatever reasons. Why, for whatever reason, you're a bigger size. Doesn't mean you just eat shitty food and whatever. But people judge them for that. And then what if you can't help, sometimes you can't help yourself and stuff. And it's like, where do you stand? Where do you fit? If you're not black or white, what is in the middle? And then in the middle, there's nothing. It's weird. Sorry.
So no. So the vices that we all have, the addictions and the places, the safe places, so they can really get on the way of trying to tap more into ourselves, right? And pay more attention to all the things that we were talking about before. When you get someone who comes to you and is trying to make sense of these things, and you realize that there's some addiction involved, is it something that it's part of what you can do to help them, or you're clear with the person, look, we have to go through all the ways here, you have to deal with this first so the other things make more sense, or not tapping into who you are will help with those vices, like what's the right way of approaching? Because it's easy for us to hold on to things, right? And find a safe place there.
Get comfortable though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a journey.
That's a great way to
I'm getting tired thinking about it.
It is, isn't it? Like,
it's a journey, yeah.
Yeah, it's easy for people to sort of, because they're on I call it like, just because they're on a different coloured bicycle, it's easy to be like, oh my God, how does it feel to like ride a blue bicycle and like with those kind of wheels and whatever. Like, it's a bicycle, goes forward, goes backwards, it's got 2 wheels, but everything else is slightly different to the bike you're on. And for whatever reason, you like kind of want a bike like that, or when you hear about what that bike gives you, you're like, oh fuck, I want to work towards that bike, I need a new bike like that, and you get so focused on it. But it's like you'd assume that life is just kind of like a progression of bicycles. It's more or less like the track you're on, though, and how you have to adapt and stuff. And
is that the journey? Is that what?
I think that's essentially what I was getting at. It's just like getting back to the fact that it's like it's the journey to that matters the most, and it's not the destination that matters. But like it can be actually quite literally tiresome to have to get through your day, working through what you have to do, put your homework to work. Like, it's pretty tedious. It's pretty tricky.
I'm just thinking about like intention, like I was saying before, there was something within me that wanted a better life, that knew that that there was a better life for me. And I was actually having a conversation with my niece just a couple of days ago about, what was the driving force that kind of made me go down this path. And I was like, it was my pain, and feeling like, stuff's not working, it's not working. And so there was kind of a feeling of wanting to move away from pain, and she's like, oh, you could look at the other way as well, like, the healing as well. And so we're either going to be motivated by the pain or the goodness, like the cherry that's being dangled, the light at the end of the tunnel, the heart that's open and loving and surrendered body, and all those things that I desire is my heart to be open, my body to be relaxed and open, and for me to be seated in my inner knowing of what actually I desire and I want, need in my life in each moment. And like there's a desire, a movement towards something. Like I have a counsellor that I see, and he's saying, you got to have a goal. You got to have a goal, and and what is your goal? And I was like, enlightenment. And then he's like, what is enlightenment to you? And I was like, yeah, having that inner knowing of what I need in each moment, and acting out from that place, being centered, being grounded, being present, and acting out from that place, and not being kind of in a space where I'm not fully present and I'm numbed out, or I'm sitting in shut down. My nervous system responses, about those, being in flight, being in like running, and shutting down. So there's still some of those tendencies that happen in my physiological body from my trauma. So there are physiological things that happen when you've experienced abuse. And those are some of the things that have kind of I refer to as part of my pain, is my subconscious responses to particular challenges in my life. Yeah. And so, it's
That's
like,
great.
yeah. So I was thinking, some people are oblivious to any of that, and they're quite happy being oblivious. But I can't. Sometimes I wish I could.
Regardless of, you literally had no choice. So,
Right. Brett, would you like to ask a question? And do you have a question there for us?
Yeah, we've got a couple in the chat here.
Oh, chats.
It's a live feed chat on YouTube.
The chat machine.
Oh, wow.
We've got a couple for a couple of different people here. So Chloe, there's a couple for you, but we'll start with me. Just Hanako said that I was doing a good job on the camera.
Well done.
Yeah, Hanako.
So that was nice to hear. But what does it say here? Hi guys, this is from Taylor. Hi guys, feels great to be watching from my sofa. I would like to ask TUIA Marama if she knows the meaning of her name. Pretty informative episode.
That's cool.
That's very nice.
I do know the meaning of my name. Yeah. So TUIA is to weave or bind or sew, to thread. And it also represents the intangible bonds that are established, created between people when they work together. And that was, the name TUIA was given to me from a friend from the Uruweras. I was sharing how I was thinking about calling myself Tui. And but it's not my original name. It's not my Christian name.
Oh, no.
I reinvented myself, yeah.
Great.
And and I didn't quite like Tui, and she goes, we'll go one better than that, we'll call you TUIA.
My grandma's name is Tui.
Oh.
I like the name.
Yeah, TUIA. I really love TUIA, and I love what it represents, and and my friends say like it's perfectly fitting for what you do with your healing massage work, and and then all my creativity, my fashion, and that sort of thing. And then Marama for me represents understanding, Marama, and also the moon. And how that came about was I did a woman's shamanic workshop, and it talked about the life cycle of woman, going from maiden through to mother into Maga, which is through your menopause, and then through to the crone, and how our everyday cycles, our energetic cycles from, waking up in the morning, going through to the peak, to the lunch hour, all the way into the evening and back into darkness and rest and rejuvenation. And so that energy of the day is reflected in our monthly cycle as a woman, menstruation, and also about our moon, the energy of the moon, and the energy of the seasons, and then going into our life. So marama was an understanding of the moon cycles and all those other cycles, and there is so much more to it, but that's my sometimes I'm not very good at short stories. Thank you for your question.
Hey, it's absolutely fine. That was
Beautiful story. That was
Thank you for the question.
Thanks, Taylor.
So we've got another couple. Maybe we could switch over to a couple of questions or a question for Chloe.
Uh-oh.
And a general
genuinely nervous.
And a general question too.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Has anyone on this show been catfished? And if Chloe could,
she'll translate for us. Chloe will translate that for us.
yeah, maybe we need to translate that. Yeah,
I was so nervous. I was like, oh.
Should we go through that one first?
Well,
you can. And it was just that if Chloe could just talk a little bit about her background, and Taylor said she sounds like a natural on the mic.
That's good.
Oh, shot Taylor.
So what is cat?
So to explain catfishing, it's a very common term now, but it was like a thing with social media because it tends to be social media. So like even the example of making a Facebook profile and I write out the details. I'm Leo. Photo of Leo. Hence I'm behind the computer. That's catfishing. You literally create like an ulterior being, or like you steal. Most commonly, you steal pictures of people in a persona from someone else, pretend it's you, and you quite commonly use that for lots of reasons. Lots of reasons. There quite literally is an MTV reality TV show about it.
But then, is it aiming to go and meet whoever you were in touch with? Because that would kill the whole thing, right? The person will look at you and say,
the TV show Catfish does do that. That the TV show came from the idea of connecting these people, because there are people out there that have been duped.
Absolutely.
Are completely in love, fallen in love with this person behind a computer. However, in terms of media, looking at pictures of someone else. There could be someone out there, Leo, who is dead down, completely in love with you and thinks they talk to you every single day. But it's just Brett on his computer at home.
Sorry.
With a voiceover. Yeah.
However, he has, in saying the meetup, Leo, they have every excuse. My phone died. Tinder swindler, Oh, the mafia are after me. Send me money. And it happens. It used to be quite a common thing.
Has it happened to you?
Have I been catfished? I think when I was like a little bit younger, like probably too young to be on the internet, I kind of talked to a couple of people. Omegle, for anyone out there, I know you all know what Omegle is.
No.
I don't know.
No, we don't know.
Well, you have to explain that now as well.
Shut up, Brett.
Now you gotta do it.
So Omegle was just like a live website where you can video and where you're in Japan, TUIA, you're somewhere else, back home in Brazil, I'm in here in New Zealand, I'm a 12-year-old girl on my computer. ICO, connect, boom. I see you on my computer screen, you see me, we can chat. I can disconnect, you can disconnect, and then a new person turns up. So that was available to me when I was super young, when we I think our first home office got set up, and weird and dangerous stuff happened on that website. It was just a way to connect people. It had a good intent, but you could literally just talk to. So it was a chat room, but a live face.
It was random, right?
Absolutely random. Yeah, so absolutely random. So I could connect with
80% of it
anyone.
is dudes just jerking it. That's basically all it is. No. It's disgusting. I have never been on there.
I just want to put it out there. I do not admit nor deny seeing any penises at that age on a computer screen.
Okay.
Yeah, just out there.
We all know it's a thing, though.
Yeah, it's very.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't think I have. Yeah, I don't know. I've been on Tinder for a little bit, and I remember I think they made it on purpose. The first 5 minutes that I was on it, someone liked me or whatever and replied straight away. And I got to meet the person, and it was the same girl, but she didn't look like the picture.
So like, you had met her
at all.
You had met her before, and her photos were.
And I was so excited.
Not great.
Probably from 7 years before that, the moment.
So
that we met.
that there is considered catfishing.
Ah, okay. So
you have photos up. I send you
what it was.
photos like let's meet, and it's photos of TUIA or me dressed up or edited, and then you meet me in person. That's called catfishing as well.
Or could it be like me? But when I was 27.
Yeah, see, that's catfishing.
Right.
But I bet you look the same.
But it was still
I
me.
bet you look the same because you're gorgeous.
I haven't aged a day.
21? No.
So something like that has something similar happened to you, like of
Not with me personally, but I have friends that it's happened to, and yeah, twice. Two people, and one actually got duped for money. Yeah. So she gave him money, and
it's common.
And then it all he disappeared.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that.
And a little bit of Chloe's background.
Yeah, Chloe's background.
Let's see how great you are.
Hi, anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Chloe. I'm local. I grew up here. That's all you get. Tune in next week.
Yeah. Tune in next week.
Damn.
Yeah.
Time's running out.
The cool thing about ALTBAYS is that we have different co-hosts coming to the shows, and we get to meet them as we go with the shows. You know, people feel more comfortable to talk about their lives, so I'm sure people at home will get to know more about Chloe soon.
Absolutely.
I mean, a little bit.
A little bit.
I mean, honestly, TUIA and Brett, you heard a bit more about me straight off the bat than I actually tend to tell anyone.
There you go.
Thank you. That's safety. Safety within you.
But I gave consent.
Safety within us.
I gave consent. Yeah.
TUIA, do we live in a sexist world?
In a sexist world?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we?
This is why you're drinking your water.
I know that you corrected yourself not that long ago, because generalizing it's very complicated. However, you know, we can talk about things that happen a lot of times. You know, like it's quite a normal thing. So is it?
Sorry, I pushed
Yeah.
A sexist world. I feel uncomfortable answering that question. I actually don't want to answer that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, don't. Yeah. No, I just, the reason why I ask, it's because, not defending it at all, but like, it feels like man usually has that image of not being nice, you know, like the way that like we're put all out there in places where alcohol is fine, you know, you just go hard, you don't know how much the person drank, what's happening, and that's probably one of the worst drugs, in my opinion, you know, like it really changes your perception. It's very easy to say the next day, I don't remember, I don't know, but like even if you do remember, you know, it's one of those dodgy drugs that you can pull that one off, you know, and then you deal with a lot of bad behavior from men. And I see that all the time, you know, like I haven't drunk for 4 years. Well, except from last Wednesday, we had Adam bringing beer and I was sipping them because they're very nice. But like I go to bars, I go to places and I see that. At the same time, I see very bad behavior from women too. Very bad, you know, and then I always think like it's not a judgmental thing, but I'm like, can we talk about both? You know, obviously, it makes much more sense to educate men. It would help. It would make things easier because a lot of violence is generated by men because of those problems that we talked before. You know, like of men proving that they're men, you know, like, and it feels like it's easy to escalate a situation, you know. So like if you target those problems, it feels like it would be easier, but like it doesn't eliminate that it's a whole society that is having a problem with dealing with each other, you know. So obviously I just threw it, and it's quite a broad question, and I don't want to put you like against the wall to say yes or no.
Yeah.
I know, but we can maybe talk a little bit about that. You know, like what can we do then? A better question to support men to be nicer, to deal better with themselves, so they know how to talk to a woman, or even both ways, or even with a woman to be more receptive and actually not thinking that every guy that comes to them, it's after something dodgy, and then they ignore the guy or treat them like shit, you know. Like, so yeah, it's would you give some good advice for us on that?
Well, if you are kind of done some work in consent, then you're going to be a safer person to be around, and same thing for the woman, like females just as much. And one thing that I really love about this work is tapping into the honor and reverence of each other when you do this kind of work. Is you know, you're not taking advantage, you're kind of being a guardian of each other, and so you kind of have that way about you, instead of feeling like, what can I take or kind of project onto another person. Yeah. Chloe?
Well, I was just talking a little bit about how, you know, men sometimes doesn't have great behavior in social spaces, but you can also see that coming from women sometimes.
Absolutely.
And we don't target that as much. The problem is way bigger.
It's a massive, old ingrained thing, which can be a little disheartening to people that really want to make a change and can understand and see a difference and make them do the mahi, you know, on themselves, to be a safe person, to be understanding, to be empathetic. And there are, like you said earlier, there are people that just are oblivious and don't understand that certain things, even not regardless of how they feel, which is behind their action, it's just a matter of seeing, I think, everyone being somewhat equal, seeing everyone on the same plane, and going, hey, that guy's red, that guy's yellow, that guy's green, that woman's yellow, red, green, and you're like, oh, so it's somewhat similar. Talk about it, and then the aftermath sort of becomes a bit more understandable, and you'd think more often than not, people choose to change their behaviour once they feel understood or are understood, when they can understand themselves.
So yeah, are there specific groups or work that it's been done to Maori families, you know, like groups that you are aware of to deal, because there's so much in the background, there's so much accumulated trauma there's so much that it still plays out of things that happened in the past, and we know now that these things pass through generation.
I am not aware of that, but I'm sure there are, you know, people out there doing the work that addressing that, but I'm not too sure.
How when I came to New Zealand, it was interesting to see the dynamics of Maori families, the size of it, of like how integrates a lot of people, and it's all family, and sometimes you have different dynamics of who lives with who and who looks after who, and I just find like you're trying to put something that it doesn't follow. You know what I mean?
I know what
like
you mean.
it doesn't follow a pattern
of
what Western society does, but you're trying to fit that into that, and then sometimes it clashes. And then I was just wondering, like, if it sometimes we try to put people into brackets and to make them go into a place that it's not, because the tradition is different, the culture is different. Feels like we're trying to eliminate that culture and trying to make them fit. Am I right with that? Do I have a good take on that, or?
Well,
It's kind of like a not big terms, but like cultural appropriation vibes, where it's like it's another culture's traditions, maybe even less than the word traditions, just ways of doing things are deemed different, and not just by someone pointing a finger, but just by society in general. Most things generally tend to be some form of westernized in general. So something like it, specifically a Māori culture. So it's things like the way we do funerals and stuff could be deemed different or wrong, and it doesn't fit into a Western society. Really, I don't want to say anything wrong, but inviting a white guy to a tangi, might not fit, because he might not be able to take, it might not work into his work life and his world, the society he lives in, to take 3 to 4 days off to go attend a tangi, where in Māori culture, which varies a lot, admittedly, to spend that time, whereas it's like my nan and my aunts are like, someone's passed, pack up the car, we're going for 4 or 5 days down to the marae and to be around the whānau, and it's, I think, is that sort of what you mean, that just the cultural differences don't fit and can cause clashes and stuff. I don't know really if that's what you mean, but I mean that's a bit of an example. But that's a bit of an example
did you
about
say
it.
that something else came to your
I've got
mind?
something that comes to mind, and it was around. I explored an open relationship, and I had a dear friend come to me. She's a Māori, she's a wahine, Māori wahine, and she spoke to me about me as a mana wahine, a sacred woman, that we are tapu, and we are sacred, and because we are a portal of creation. And there's a reverence in that. And where am I going with this? She's like, you are queen, you are queen. Te Puna are saying you are queen, you are sacred, you are tapu.
Amen.
And she was speaking about, this is quite a I find this subject really, really sensitive, and I just want to honour the sensitivity in this kaupapa that you are bringing up, and but yeah, that way of holding woman in sacredness isn't always seen in the Western culture.
Yeah.
And I dare say that it's been lost also in our own culture.
Yeah. I'm very for that.
So I don't know how that fits into your question.
It's definitely something to mention.
It was just something
absolutely.
that I felt to mention around a kind of just to acknowledge that is part of the culture, is that the men were in reverence, like, they always sat at the front of
the pai and everything. Yeah.
and the women sat at the back because they protect us, and when we go on to the marae, the men lead the way, and they are there to protect. And
Even in war, even in haka, depending on what area you're from, the women are at the back and they don't do certain things. All in sacredness. Yeah, you're right.
Sacredness.
Hey, might not be appropriate, but I think it might be a technological clash. Just wanted to say, TUIA, your biggest fan, Nera, is outside. She's saying hi, and you're doing awesome. Oh,
There
thank you,
There you
Nera.
go.
She just gave me a buzz. Hi, Nera,
Great.
if you're watching in the car. Hey.
Yeah, she's in the
I
car.
can't bring the phone out. It's a
Awesome.
technical thing, but yeah.
How do we try to bring that back?
Well,
We can talk about it.
Yeah,
We
well.
can speak about it on
Yeah, schools,
Always. Yeah.
home,
Pardon?
at schools, at home. It feels like schools are trying to bring more Maori culture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. My son's, he's in a bilingual school, and I'm not too sure if they've actually.
Like kohanga reo? Nah.
He's in Te Pauahi in Nelson.
Okay, yeah.
Central, they have a English medium, and then they have a bilingual part of the school.
Oh, just like general bilingual.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, cool. That's
so
awesome.
he's
Any
not,
language.
he's not full immersion, but yeah, it's really awesome. And so yeah, I'm not too sure if they've actually taught him that particular thing. But hey, if I actually claim that for myself and know that myself, then I can show him
Pass it on. Yeah.
and demonstrate to him and yeah, teach him. Like you say, teach our kids that respect and that honour. And yeah.
That's beautiful.
So yeah, that cultural aspect, like, yeah. I wasn't raised in the culture, in my own culture. And that's something that I'm looking at reclaiming and, you know, doing classes in Te Reo Māori and visiting things. So it's not a strong thing that I'm raised in. So I feel a sensitivity around speaking around it because it's not a natural part of it's in my blood. It's in my blood, and but it's to speak about it is a really sensitive thing for me. So
well, thank you.
Thank you, though. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for doing it, for sharing it. It's beautiful. Tuia, so to wrap it up, tell us, give us some more information about the workshop tomorrow.
Yeah,
please.
That's actually one of the questions we've got over here.
Cool.
Awesome.
And they're asking, if you don't mind, they're just asking about how often you do them or would be doing them, and do you travel or would you travel like around the country or so on and so forth.
Oh yeah.
And then
group chat's going on.
that was from Hanako, but I was going to ask the questions too, like how long it goes for, like if anyone's interested in going tomorrow, and I don't know if it's weird to talk about cost or anything over the air, or if, but yeah, the whole the whole info is wanted to be known.
Okay, cool. So tomorrow at 2:00 at Kuatunu Hall. I've chosen Kuatunu Hall because that's where I grew up. And it's just so lovely, and I needed a space for us to move around and be in. And so at Kuatunu Hall at 2:00, 2 to 4:00, 2 full rich hours of interaction and learning, having an introduction to the Wheel of Consent. And the exchange is $35, and if you're wanting to come along and join us, then there are a few requirements that I've put on my event page on Facebook, and that is that you are sober, that you have good hygiene, you know, because we're going to be doing exercises with each other. So no strong perfumes and deodorants, and to be refrain from drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, because it's all about coming into connection and with yourself and being present. So, that's a good way to show up. What else? Yeah, it's fully clothed. It's going to be.
I find that real funny. You have to bring that up. Fully
I
clothed.
know, but because some people think, you know, it's about sex. Consent means it's about sex, and it's not. it's about tuning in
That's good, yeah.
with your
that's
with yourself and with sensations, and it's going to be a great couple of hours. It's short, there's lots to learn, and I just want to get people having an embodied experience of the wheel of consent. So I keep pointing there because I think it's still up there.
I can put it
I
back.
thought you were just
But that's
plugging
all good.
ALTBAYS.
It's all
You're like,
good.
this guy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And if
Yeah.
and if people want to take this workshop to their towns, the best way to get in touch with you, Facebook, Instagram?
Just Facebook me.
Facebook.
I'm not really much of an Instagram person.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fair
I
enough.
tend to do Facebook.
It's shit. Sorry.
Yeah, and my willingness to take it around would be amazing. Yeah, totally. It'd be cool to be able to share this mahi with lots of people. Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I really think it's one of those workshops that you could get funding to take it to places. I think so.
Possibly,
Yeah. I think it would
Awesome.
be. Yeah, I think it would be worth it. Having a look. New Zealand is pretty good with that. It's like
Pretty good.
yeah,
Pretty good.
Yeah. A lot of people are actually coming to tell us about that. It's like our strategy is a bit different, but we're aware that for the arts and for
Accessible funds.
healing,
are
very
available.
special things like you do, you could probably get funding, which would be good, right?
Yeah, be
Yeah.
awesome. So, at the moment, I have got nobody signed up for the workshop tomorrow. I did
So
ask for
now's the time.
registrations, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of tough times at the moment with COVID and whatnot. So, hey, if you're feeling unwell, please don't come. Yeah, but so tomorrow, even though I've got no one signed up,
be there.
registered, I will be there at 2:00, and whoever shows up will show up and be there.
Well,
So
it's out there now. Come on, guys
It's out
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
and girls.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hurry up, guys.
Hurry up, guys.
See you in Kua
Yeah.
at 2.
See you in Kua.
Yeah, that
awesome.
That was so cool. Thank you so much. Yeah, so powerful and yeah. Would you like to share anything else before we finish?
Final statement.
Final statement.
Don't forget to plug your Facebook again, so people can find you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So if anyone, I'm gonna start off with this. Don't forget that you are an important person to the whole, and without you, everything wouldn't be whole and complete. So that's how important you are. So just to sit with that. And yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for hearing my story and parts of my story. And thank you for hosting me. And thank you to my dear friend Nera, who's waiting outside for me in her car.
Who's blowing up my phone? Absolutely blowing up my phone. Hey, Nera.
Yeah, so thank you to her for getting me here. And I look forward to whoever shows up tomorrow. And if you want to get in touch with me, then TUIA MARAMA is my Facebook page. And you want to visit my website, it's tuiamarama.com. So, yeah. Thank you so
Fantastic.
much.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
this show becomes available on YouTube and all the podcast platforms. So I'm sure there will be people listening to you and getting in touch. Just reach out to Tuia. Thank you so much, Brett, for tonight. That was pretty cool. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Chloe, what a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, team. Nice to
you.
meet you, Toya.
Yeah, you too.
Tuia, hope to see you again sometime soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're live every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays on YouTube. And if you want more information about ALTBAYS Show, just go to altbays.nz, send us a message. I will see you guys on Monday. Subscribe to our channel, and bye.
Hey, Toya.